getting into a video game that I believe has a strong possibility of winning Game of the Year. Now, I know we're only 3 months in, and that's very high praise for a video game. But when it comes to Split Fiction and playing the game, it is one of the most creative games that I've ever played in life. I'm a huge RPG fan, if you couldn't tell by the podcast title. And also, when it comes to creativity, I believe platformers shine the most, because I don't know what it is about other genres, but I feel as far as in the platforming aspect, you can easily spot what's a good platforming game and what's not, based on the level of intricacy you have to have when crafting these platforming type games. And I'm talking about a Mario, I'm talking about an Astrobot. Platformers inevitably are going to reveal how creative you are as far as approaching the game development process. Now, with that being said, Split Fiction is top 3, if not number 1, as far as one of the most creative games I've ever played in life, because it's almost as if all the creative ideas that they had in that room were showcased in this video game. Like, oh, you want to do this? That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Oh, that's also a great idea. Guess what? Everything, we're going to put all that into this game, right? Creativity galore as far as from start to finish. I've never experienced a game where it just consistently showcased new mechanics, new visuals, as far as completely new settings, right? Completely new mechanics every single hour on the hour. It was actually one of the most insane experiences as far as a first timer playing Split Fiction. So with that being said, if you didn't know, Split Fiction is a third-person co-op action-adventure game developed by Hazelight Studios. You're probably well aware of Hazelight Studios, as also I will say that I believe Hazelight Studios is one of the more prominent developers that we have in the gaming industry today, to the point where now Hollywood execs are starting to take notice, as they are moving and actively pursuing rights for a movie adaptation of Split Fiction. As when it comes to assembling a package including a cast, writers, and directors, media companies are already giving propositions and showcasing and trying to get Hazelight. Well, I don't even know if it was Hazelight. It's probably I forget the guy who is over Hazelight, because he's done a lot of interviews. Let me see, Hazelight Studios owner, because he does a lot of interviews and he has a very interesting personality. Let me just put it like that. Like, if that man ever started a podcast, man, his personality is through the roof. So anyways, because I've seen him a lot of time at the Game Awards show. So Joseph Ferris, hopefully I'm saying that right. He is the founder of Hazelight Studios and the creative director. So I would assume that they would have to go through him. So basically, getting back to the Hollywood part of it, they are approaching him and basically presenting a lot of scripts and just overall packaging when it comes to a live action movie for Split Fiction. So that is going on as we speak, and nothing's confirmed. This could all fall through, but this is officially happening via reports. So that is a huge deal that Hollywood execs are reaching out to you, essentially because you've probably made one of the greatest creative games we've ever seen. So when it comes to the game and the runtime, I do believe it's on the shorter end, depending, and this is a very interesting part of the game, right? Depending on who you play with, this game could either be lengthy or it could be short. Now, I'm not saying short as in, oh, it's going to be like 5 to 10 hours. I would say this game is around the 12 to 15 hour mark, honestly. And depending on who you play with, is either going to be longer or shorter. So, choose your partner wisely. With that being said, I believe this specific game is fantastic. I've said that time and time again, but as far as this game being out on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, one thing stood out to me. Retro consoles are no longer being supported by these highly intense games as far as PS4 and Xbox Series X. Well, is it Series X? I forget, because at this point, Xbox done took so many L's, I don't even know which platform they have out right now. Xbox, I ain't gonna lie to you, I forgot. But actually, let's look that up right now. List of Xbox since release. If you didn't know, PlayStation is outselling Xbox, well, the PS5 is Xbox is outselling the current Xbox 4-1. So that means for every one current gen Xbox sold, there's 4 PS5 sold. So just keep that in mind. That's how I forgot how they even releasing these consoles at this point. Like Xbox is really falling to the wayside. Okay, so they're on the Xbox Series X. Okay, cool. So with that being said, that is the 4th generation. The last one was the Xbox One. Oh, that's what it was called. These names are so confusing. Like, I just forget. Like, at this point, I mean, you're losing the race so bad that, you know, I mean, at some point, we just got to do a whole rebrand. So anyways, why'd I say that? Oh, yeah, because this game is only out on current gen consoles, because a lot of people think that PS4 and Xbox One is current gen. No, that is retro consoles at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on, let's look this up just so y'all don't think I'm joking. Let me see if I can find this right quick. PS4 release date. Okay, so November 19th, 2013, ladies and gentlemen, is when the PS4 came out. Y'all want to know when the Xbox One came out? Xbox One release date. Xbox One came out 2013. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 2025. It's about time. It's about that time. So anyways, speaking on your retro consoles, Hazelight Studios did not develop this game for that, nor do I believe it could run on that old technology. It would probably turn your Xbox One or PS4 into a living time bomb if you played this game on it. So anyways, with that being said, I believe that the sales is doing phenomenally, as officially and objectively speaking, 2 million copies were sold in its first week of launch. And that is tremendous, especially for a co-op like game. Because of course, you can't just play this game with AI. If you're only one person, you're going to have to make friends, buddy. You got to go on your local Discord, go on your favorite content creator stream, find their Discord, ask if anybody want to play with you. If somebody say no, ask your family. If they say no, guess what? You may have to play with Casper. Now just play. But all jokes aside, I think, you know, you should be able to find somebody, which is why I keep bringing up Discord. Because I know a lot of people find that issue to come about time and time again. Because, you know, some people are lonely out here. You know what I mean? Sad day in history. But with that being said, you know, Discord is a great way to have somebody play with you as far as split fiction. Now, with that being said, I played this game with my cousin, and we had a blast. I ain't gonna lie to you. We had a phenomenal time. So I ain't really had that problem. But, you know, I was just giving you options in case you had that problem. So the sales are phenomenal. The game is phenomenal. I don't think I could keep going as far as talking about this game without stating that this is one of the most creative video games that you will ever play in life. I mean, the premise itself sets it up to be creative, but then Hazelight Studios took it to a whole nother level. Because sometimes when people are in sci-fi or people have these, time travel type adventures, right? Which is limitless possibilities. They're very limited when they're thinking about how to go about that story. And they're not really grasping how they could do anything, right? How the premise is letting them do anything. And they're doing this very specific thing that's limiting creativity and really showcasing some people's mental barriers when it comes to reaching certain creative heights. Split fiction is the complete opposite. They were given a premise where you could do absolutely anything, and they ran with it. When I tell you some of the most interesting scenarios has happened to me playing this video game, one of them, I'm not even going to spoil it. Let's just say sometimes you have to get turned into certain things to realize that this game is out of his mind. Because the different settings that you're put in, and then randomly, it will turn you into something, I'm not going to say what it is, and then now you have to play as that. And I'm thinking to myself, hold on now. I know this game did not just take me from a sci-fi fantasy adventure and put me in this world. And it works. At the end of the day, a lot of these maps that they put you in time and time again, they have its own mechanics. They have their own bosses, their own mechanics. It would have been so easy to go the simple route and have certain mechanics present as far as, there's a grapple mechanic that's always present. But for the majority of the time, there's completely new mechanics thrown at you time and time again throughout every single setting in this game, hour on the hour. And maybe even shorter than that. Maybe every 30, 40 minutes, they throw a whole new mechanic at you. And multiple, right? Multiple different camera angles, multiple different settings. Now I'm getting more into my personal review of the game. Because when I tell you that playing this game with my cousin, and, you know, a game doesn't have to be that fire for us to make it enjoyable, right? Like, we be joking 24/7. So whether the game was trash or fun, we was going to have a great time. Now, the story is phenomenal, and the overall execution of it is at a masterclass level to where I'm looking at this game, I'm even watching back some of the videos, gotta watch film kind of like NBA players. You know what I mean? Not too crazy. And I believe that some of the most authentic moments, as far as genuinely just being in awe of certain settings they put you in, is just a testament to how video games were meant to be enjoyable. So Hazelight Studios have yet another hit on their hands, and I believe A Way Out. No, not A Way Out. I believe It Takes Two won Game of the Year not too long ago. It Takes Two. Let me see. So It Takes Two, they won Game of the Year back in 2021. Goodness, that makes me feel old. But I remember watching that game show, and that's how I realized that man had a crazy personality. But anyways, It Takes Two, obviously developed by Hazelight Studios. That game won Game of the Year at the Game Awards show back in 2021. And as far as A Way Out, I don't know about Way Out. I don't even think the game show was around back then. That was like, I forget what the conference was called when PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo all came together. I forget what that conference was called, but I mean, it's no longer here in the Game Awards. Kind of like the Summer Game Festival, or whatever. It's kind of took over. But when it comes to A Way Out back in 2018, it was nominated in several categories, but didn't win Game of the Year, which went to God of War. Okay, now that makes sense. Now that makes complete sense. God of War was what they did for Kratos. All right, this is Hazelight Studio praise, so I'm not gonna go too crazy. But what Santa Monica Studio did with Kratos in the 2018 God of War. Now that I think about it, 2018 was a stacked year. We had God of War, we had Spider-Man, A Way Out, Red Dead Redemption 2, Fortnite. I mean, Fortnite was always around, but 2018 was a stacked year. Anyways, yeah, Way Out was nominated in several categories, but didn't win Game of the Year and went to God of War. So that makes sense. But essentially, what I'm letting you know is not Santa Monica. They are also fantastic. Took a little step back with Ragnarok, but it's all right. Hopefully they pick it up. But Hazelight Studios, what they put out as far as A Way Out, as far as It Takes Two, as far as Split Fiction, I cover music. I would compare this to when Kanye West put out Graduation. I mean, the ultimate peak, time and time and time again from Hazelight Studios. I don't know what they could do next to up the ante, because after this, I'm thinking to myself, I'm guessing there's a lot of different ways they could go to keep going with the co-op route. But now that people have seen that they're one of the greatest studios ever created, and yes, I'm saying that at this point, 2018 to 2025, they're still putting out peak content for for gamers out there, right? I believe that now, will they try to, I'm not going to say they're not challenging themselves with co-op action adventures, right? But will they try to go a single player route? Will they try to go a live service route? Because you already know when it comes to live service, everybody loves to point out how the top games or majority live services, but what people don't realize, that's like 4 to 5 games, right? 4 to 5 games taking up that slot. That's like looking at Drake and be like, he got all these sales, let's just make what he makes. Like, hold up now, it don't work like that, and it's not that easy. So a lot of these people just flop when they make live services. But if Hazelight Studios found a way to have a Marvel Rivals type of game where they were given maybe the DC IP, maybe they were given, what's something else? I can't really think of anything as far as a live service where, Star Wars, they could be given the Star Wars IP. That would be, like, at this point, Hazelight Studios needs to be treated like EA is treated, because of course EA has Star Wars Outlaws developed by Respawn, but when it comes to overall Star Wars products, it's not really licensed out to Hazelight Studios or studios like that works on these type of games. So I believe the next step for Hazelight Studios is taking that Insomniac jump where they get a popular IP, whether that's Star Wars, whether that's DC, whether that's Marvel. That is the next step, I believe, that's in play for Hazelight Studios. So hopefully that makes sense. Also, if you was wondering, with this game being out on current gen consoles such as the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, essentially it's fully, it is fully cross-play across all platforms. And another thing that I wanted to mention is that the co-op feature means that, like, the need for the co-op, like, you can't play this with Casper, you need an actual human to play with you, right? Only one copy of the game is needed using a friend's pass. So that means if somebody purchases the game, now you get a free copy. Unless y'all want to split the cost, which, to each his own, but yeah, somebody, you get a free game, right? Maybe play rock, paper, scissors, and that person buys the game. But at the end of the day, they deserve all the support and revenue, as this is inevitably going to go down as one of the most creative video games of all time. And with that being said, click my link tree in my bio. Let me know on one of my social medias. What do you think about what do you think about Split Fiction as far as it being one of the most creative games ever? What do you think about Hollywood execs trying to get this movie for a live action or a live movie adaptation? And at the end of the day, if you played this game like I have, what is your favorite thing about Split Fiction?